My name is Leanne Morton and I've been a visual arts teacher for over 25 years and a head teacher for the past 18 years. I've taught the HSC for nearly all of those years and have been a marker of the HSC bodies of work on several occasions over that time. I am currently the head teacher of visual arts at Katara High School. Visual arts is a little different to other subjects in that it has two parts to the HSC examination. Each part has equal value. The first part of the exam is the body of work and is completed in term 3 of your HSC year. The body of work is developed during the HSC course and gives students the opportunity to engage in art making as practice. It is externally examined and should be evidence of what students know and can do in their practice of art making. The second part of the exam is the written paper. This is completed along with your other HSC exams in term 4 of your HSC year. The exam gives students the opportunity to analyse and interpret artwork using the 3 areas of syllabus content: practice, frames and the conceptual framework. Both examinations focus on your understanding of the syllabus content areas: practice, incorporating art making, art criticism and art history; the conceptual framework and the relationship between the artist, the artwork, the world and the audience; and the frames, which is a system that aids interpretation and analysis of artworks by presenting potential meanings and points of view via a set of perspectives, including the subjective, the structural, the cultural and the postmodern frame. I will talk about each part in my presentation and hopefully provide you with some tips on how to do well in both sections. The body of work. The HSC Visual Arts syllabus tells us that the body of work reveals a coherent point of view, conceptual strength and meaning, and a student's knowledge and understanding of practice. The work would need to provide evidence of sustained investigations and materials and ideas that over time have contributed to the conceptual strength and meaning of the artwork. With this statement in mind, it can be said that the quality of your art practice and your art making, your body of work, depends on the amount of time, the amount of thought and the amount of effort placed in its production. The formula for creating a good piece of work is a long one that involves lots of hard work and experimentation. Therefore, my advice to you is to be working consistently. Have work with you in class every lesson and use your diary to refine your ideas and develop your skills. Where to start? The syllabus also tells us that the body of work should be a response to the student's environment. What constitutes your world, your environment? It has wide boundaries and is full of creative potential. Your body of work should reflect an interest, a concept or issue that you can relate to, something that you feel strongly about, something you would like to make a visual statement about. Be honest. Don't worry about what you think the markers want. Relate your art making to your genuine interests. Use your visual arts diary to explore issues and concepts that interest you and then figure out how to create an artwork or artworks that present these ideas in a thoughtful manner. Always be mindful of creating a work that abides by the rules, the correct size, weight, length of time, etc. These documents are available from your teacher or on the BOSDES website. In creating your body of work, you should be constantly exploring possibilities and questioning your intentions and actions. You should consider how you can develop meaning in your work by applying the frames. Are you focusing on a personal comment, the subjective frame? Is it a cultural expression, the cultural frame? Are you communicating through signs and symbols, the structural frame? Are you questioning the conventions of art practice, the postmodern frame? You can also use the conceptual framework to constantly examine your artwork. Record your ideas about your relationship with your world, your artwork, your imagined audience, and apply this to the creation of your body of work. Be aware of your own art practice, your choices in producing your body of work. How are you using the subject matter, the forms and material coherence to develop a conceptual strength and meaning in your work? Your visual arts process diary is the place to illustrate and notate your thoughts. Register all your ideas and experiments there. Through your body of work, show the markers what you have learnt through your study of the visual arts. How have you incorporated your knowledge of artworks and artists in your own art making? By looking at and understanding the work of other artists who interest you, you will often give you the catalyst you need to further develop your own artwork. Push yourself. Explore the expressive qualities of your chosen expressive form. Don't stop until you are completely satisfied. Art making is like any other discipline. You need to train. A number of experiments in the beginning will help you in the long run. They will help you develop your technical skills and will guide you in your journey. Learn how to use and exploit the materials you plan to use in your artwork. Don't assume that a particular form or material is easy. Good art is the result of many hours of hard work and experimentation. Try to be sincere in your art making. Create a body of work that comes from the heart. This is your opportunity to make an artwork that is you and reflects your originality. Use your visual arts process diary to record and explore ideas that are important to you. Don't take shortcuts. Work out ways which you can best communicate your thoughts. This may involve lots of sketches, notes, experimentation with different media, plans and constructions to get it right, but it's worth working on. Research your subject matter. The greater the knowledge you have about the concept, the more sophisticated your work will become. Try to show your skills and prowess in whatever expressive form or forms you have chosen. Select mediums that show off your skills and that you are excited about using. Your material selection and techniques should complement your subject matter. A successful, fully resolved body of work shows that these things have all come together. Talking and writing about your own art making with other artists, including your classmates, will help you gain confidence about your ideas and may give you further inspiration about your body of work through discussion. Make sure you have read the requirements noted in the Board of Studies documents that your teacher has given you to ensure that you are submitting a body of work that conforms with the rules. Work with your teacher and discuss any concerns you have in regard to your art making. Your teacher's role is to give you guidance to ensure you produce the best artwork you are capable of creating. Listen to their advice. They do know what they are doing. Your body of work is marked in terms of two criteria. They are conceptual strength and meaning, and this refers to the richness of your thoughts and how they have been developed into an artwork. You are also marked on the resolution. This refers to the way thoughts, ideas and concepts are communicated in terms of the selection of expressive form and the technical prowess which complements the concepts being transmitted to the audience. Selection is a very important process for your body of work. It's your job to take on the role of curator and decide what artworks or works best represent the conceptual basis of your work as a whole. When beginning your body of work, start with lots of planning and experimentation in your diary. Start with, what do I want to explore? Not what do I want to make? What is your concept or idea? Talk to people about your ideas, your teacher, family, friends. Look at the work of other artists who have worked on similar ideas. What interests you about this idea or theme? Define and refine your ideas. Record these in your visual arts diary. Use mind maps, lists. Explore the ideas in greater depth. What form will my work take? Will it be one image, multiple images, lots of little ones, shaped canvases, a triptych? Will it be a drawing, a painting, a sculpture, a digital work, a collection of works? Will they be landscapes, portraits, cityscapes? This all needs to be recorded in your diary. What elements or principles of design am I going to use to enhance my work? Think about the composition, the lines, the texture, the shape, the colour, the harmony, the balance, the rhythm, all the things that you have been learning about in visual arts since Year 7. How am I going to approach the work? Am I aware of the conditions relating to the medium or form I have chosen? How big can it be? How heavy? How long? What techniques or processes do I need to know about? Always check with your teacher. What do I want the audience to feel or gain from looking at my artwork? Will there be layers of meaning? If so, how do I do this? What materials or equipment am I going to need to complete my body of work? How long is it going to take me? Make a schedule or plan. Record everything relating to the process of your art making in your visual arts diary. A body of work can be one of the 12 expressive forms. They can be documented forms, which can be an individual work or a series of works documenting time-based events, happenings, performances and site-specific installations. A collection of works, that is a series of works made using different expressive forms. Drawing, which can be an individual work or a series of works with a focus on drawing. Painting, an individual work or series of works with a focus on painting. Photomedia, an individual work or a series of work made in the darkroom or through digital practices. Printmaking, the same, an individual work or a series of works with a focus on printmaking. Textiles and fibre, an individual work or series of works with a focus on textiles and fibre. Graphic design, an individual work or series of works with a focus on graphic design. Designed objects, an individual work or series of works with a focus on 3D object design. This expressive form includes wearables, jewellery, architectural design and product design. Sculpture can be an individual work or a series of works with a focus on sculpture. Ceramics, an individual work or series of works with a focus on ceramics. And time-based forms, which can be an individual work or a series of works with a focus on time-based forms such as film and video, digital animation and/or interactives. A schedule or a plan is a great place to start. You begin Year 12 in October, November. You need to start with experiments, planning, building an extensive creative base and developing your technical skills. By December, you can be continuing along with these ideas and developing meaning for your body of work, or if you are confident enough, you can start completing a resolved artwork. So keep experimenting, composing, learning from your mistakes, working intuitively, developing plans. And as I said, if you are confident enough to begin a sustained artwork, that could be the start of your body of work. January over the school holidays can be a very fruitful time for some students, and they can get lots of work done towards their body of work. If you prefer to have a holiday, that's up to you. In February, you should be continuing developing ideas and meanings and completing a resolved artwork. So still lots of experiments going on, learning from your mistakes, developing plans, but you may be confident enough now to start a sustained artwork that may become part of your body of work. By March and April, you should be refining your ideas and starting to communicate some meaning in your artwork. You should be analysing what you've done, discarding what is no longer relevant, reflecting, integrating new techniques, aspects, working intuitively and deliberately. By May, you should be resolving your body of work. Still doing some decision making, reflecting, synthesising, evaluating, but you should be working well towards the resolution of your body of work. This should continue through June. By July, you should be making any late changes that you have to do with your body of work. Consider the presentation of your artwork and have a pre-final evaluation. August is the due date, so your work needs to be resolved. Any last-minute details and presentation need to be organised well before that due date in August. Please remember that your body of work is a major work, so plan your time and develop strategies to optimise your work. Experiment with the expressive form. With practice and investigation comes better command of your skills. Reference other artworks and artists. Consider the way ideas are represented and strategies behind them. Strive to constantly refine your art making in terms of form and content. Don't feel yourself that there is a quick fix in visual arts. Don't get fixated on the final idea of the body of work before you start. Don't forget there are over 9,000 other bodies of work being produced and work will be assessed according to statewide standards. Don't be lazy. Many think art making is heavily based on talent. It is the accumulation of sheer hard work. When you look at this slide and see the visual arts body of work comparison of dimensions graphs, please make sure that you are abiding by the rules and ensure that your body of work is the correct size, the correct weight. The comparison is available on the Board of Studies website, and it is important that you abide by the rules for your HSC body of work. When we read the assessment criteria for marking and the marking guidelines for the HSC body of work, we realise that the markers are looking for an artwork that has complied with the prescribed dimensions and limitations on size, weight and volume, and are sensitive to such issues as safety, no sharp edges, no prohibited materials. They're looking for a work that has balanced an idea or concept with technical resolution so that the selected materials have been used successfully to effectively express a point of view. They're looking for work that demonstrates an approach to art making that is informed and has evidence of well-considered and innovative handling of media. They are looking at work that has explored an idea or issue, whether based on personal experiences and feelings, beliefs, social influences, or formal and material investigations. Remember, it is a good idea to stop every now and again and reflect. Am I saying what I want to say? Will the viewer get it? Am I using the appropriate materials? Are layers of meaning coming through in my work? Editing is very important in the final stages of resolving your art making. Sometimes less is more. Consistency in a work and between a group of works is a good idea. Aim for well-considered and appropriate use of media. It will translate into a fluid and confident art making. Make sure you read all the requirements from your Board of Studies website. Some useful links there will tell you about syllabus requirements for the visual arts body of work, information about submitted artworks and their content, information about the size limits for your body of work, and the performance bands for visual arts. The written examination. The written exam counts for half of the marks in the Visual Arts HSC course, so you should give equal attention to both your written paper and your body of work. The written exam goes for 1.5 hours with 5 minutes reading time. The written exam is divided into 2 sections. Section 1 consists of 3 short answer questions with a combined value of 25 marks. These questions will test your ability to critically analyse and interpret by responding to colour plates. It is important to write succinctly. The challenge of Section 1 is to determine which area of content each question refers to, the conceptual framework, frames or practice. There will be 1 question on each. Section 2 consists of 6 essay questions. You only need to answer 1. The essay is also worth 25 marks. Section 2 is different to Section 1 in that the content areas are clearly labelled above the questions and there are no plates to respond to. You are expected to demonstrate your knowledge, and your knowledge should be broad and deep. You do this by drawing on what you have learnt in your case studies. Your goal is to create clear, sustained writing that explores a point of view and is supported with evidence in the form of artworks, artist quotes, and the citing of critics and historians. Some general tips for both sections of the paper. Keep an eye on the time and stick to the recommended time allocations given in the paper. Present an informed point of view by using quotes and supporting your claims. Use the plates and all other source materials to inform your response in Section 1. Keep your writing clear and ordered. Avoid waffle and fill. Prepare for Section 2 by applying the different areas of content. Practice, conceptual framework, frames to your knowledge. Practice writing essays within the time limitations. Seek feedback about your responses. Learn as many art words and terms as you can to use in your writing. Read widely and refer to a range of resources. Section 1 of the written exam. To answer the 3 questions in Section 1 of the written exam, students need to understand the 4 frames, the subjective, structural, cultural and postmodern frames, as well as the conceptual framework and artistic practice. You need to apply your knowledge of the course content to unfamiliar source material, colour plates of artworks with citations and other useful information. You should look at past exam papers to practice your exam responses. Looking at the websites of the Art Gallery of New South Wales and the Museum of Contemporary Art, as well as other art sites, will help develop a good source of information about artists, and this will help to develop a good knowledge of contemporary practice, current art ideas and art world events. Read each of the questions carefully to determine which area of content they are about. Use all the source materials, colour plates, related materials and citations to help guide your response. Each question in section 1 will require a response that utilises the content of the syllabus. One question will be about the frames, one will be about practice, and one will be about the conceptual framework. Make sure you address the demands of the question. What is it asking you? And answer it in the suggested time frame. In your answer, you will be assessed on how well you write in a concise and well-reasoned way, and how you present an informed point of view, and how you have used the plates and other source material provided to you to inform your response. In responding to each question, consider what part of the content is it asking me about, and what are the demands of the question. Look carefully at the citation. The information given to you under the image is very important and will provide you with a great deal of direction and assistance with your response. Look for clues in the title, the date, the size and the medium. When it comes to the image, don't just describe it, interpret it and evaluate it in relation to what the question is asking you. When it comes to reading a citation, the first thing we look at is the name of the artist, the architect or the designers. You may or may not know the artist, but this should not affect your ability to answer the question. All the information you require is in the source material provided for the question. The country the artist is from, this may tell us a little bit about what influences their practice. The dates when the person was born or died, this may give us some information about what was happening in the world at that time. What was happening in art, what was happening in design. The date that work was actually made, is the work recent, was the work made some time ago. The scale of the work tells us what size is it. Try to visualise the artwork as though you can actually see it. Remember that you are looking at a 2D reproduction of the work. How would it affect the viewer, the audience, yourself, if you were to see it in real life? The materials from which the artwork or object is constructed, that can tell us about the technical resolution of the work and about how the artist works. The title of the work, this is always written in italics. Remember that if you're looking at a designed object rather than a painting or a sculpture, it may have no title. What can the title tell you? Does it give you a key to the meaning of the artwork or to the artist's intentions? Any additional information may or may not be included. If it's provided for you, you should use it. It tells you about the practice of the artist, the frames or the conceptual framework. Relate this information back to the question. What does it tell you? Why has this information been included in the question? If we look at this question from the 2013 HSC Visual Arts exam, this was question 1, it was worth 4 marks. It asks us, how has the artist communicated a sense of dramatic action in this artwork? By underlining the key points, communicated, to share information, dramatic, it's noticeable and significant, action, it's about movement. In the question, we know that it is a frames question, and the frames we should be looking at are the subjective and the structural frame. What does the citation tell us? It tells us that the work was created by a Japanese artist who lived in the 19th century. He worked with multicoloured woodblocks. His work is small and part of a series. Being a part of a series is a clue because it suggests that the work is a part of a narrative, a story. The title tells us that it is a whirlpool. So it's a quickly rotating mass of water. What can we see? The colour is mostly blue, with contrasts of light and dark. There's lots of movement in the work. There's birds flying in the background, waves crashing and swirling water. The calmness of the background in relation to the turmoil of the foreground adds more contrast. There are a variety of lines, repeated to add to the movement and turbulence in the water. The perspective in the water makes the audience feel as though they're actually in the water. By taking all that we could see and read, we should be able to respond in a reasoned way that displays our understanding of the frames. Using the marking guidelines from the 2013 HSC paper and notes from the Marking Centre, we have an example of what received of marks 4 out of 4 and a sample answer for you to look at. Section 2 of the written exam. To do well in Section 2, students need to establish and sustain a persuasive argument supported by specific examples drawn from your own study of art and artists, together with appropriate evidence drawn from art critics, art historians, and contextual information. You need to draw on your knowledge acquired from your case studies in order to meet the specific demands of the different questions. It is important to use your art terminology. Using the language of the discipline is evidence of your knowledge and your credibility as a writer. By reading articles from critics in newspapers and journals, you will become familiar with art criticism styles and historical writing. A good way to practice for this section is to respond to questions from past HSC papers. In Section 2 of the written exam, there are 6 essay questions to choose from. You will not know exactly what the questions will be in the exam. What you do know is there will be 2 questions on the frames, 2 questions on the conceptual framework, and 2 questions on practice. You only need to answer 1 question from the 6 available. By looking at past HSC papers, you will discover that there are themes and concepts that often appear in visual arts written exams. These themes and concepts include such things as culture, shock, feminism, the role of the artist, rights and humanities, traditional methodologies, time and events, art critics, and audience reaction. Your essay should consist of a clear statement of what you think about a particular issue or topic, followed by a logical argument supported by a strong, well-documented evidence. It should be a written exposition or elaboration of your view on a particular topic, subject, or issue. An essay in the HSC written examination is expected to be at least 8 pages long, so know your artists and artworks well. To help you prepare for the exam, gather your information about your chosen artists, look carefully at your case studies to guide you, compile your resources and materials. These should include quotes from artists, quotes from critics reviewing the artist's practice, similar and contrasting artists, how art methodologies and conventions have helped shape this artist's work. The content areas, ensure you have responded to the artist's practice through all areas, the frames, the conceptual framework and practice. Know at least 3 key artworks and their citations. Know where and when they exhibited their work. What impact did they have on their audience? Write practice essays from past HSC papers. Read the marking criteria for the question you have answered. Look at the notes from the Markers Centre on the BOSTES website. Get your teacher to mark your responses and give you feedback. Enjoy learning about and researching your chosen artists. Learn about how audiences reacted and why artists did what they did. Be passionate about what you learn and express your judgments in an essay. Remember, you never know what essay questions will be available to you, but if you are fully prepared, you will enter the exam room with confidence. When we look at the marking criteria from the HSC exams, the marking criteria for Section 2 tells us what you need to do. You need to be able to recognise what is being asked and address the question. You need to contextualise your knowledge with the demands of the question, and you need to write in a coherent, sustained and well-reasoned manner. Writing an essay in Section 2 of the written exam, you need to recognise what is being asked in the question and respond specifically to the demands of the question. Contextualise your knowledge. Match what you know to what is being asked in the question. What ways can you use your knowledge to address the demands of the question and construct a sound, coherent essay? Be prepared to mould what you know around the question. Brainstorming in the first minute of the exam and mapping out some key points is an important step in constructing a well-written essay. You need to write. You only have 45 minutes in this section. It's not a great time to get down a whole year of study. Make sure your paragraphs are clearly formulated around key topics or points that address the question. Your essay should have an introduction, a body and a conclusion. Your essay should have an introduction that should account for the question and introduce the topics, themes, artists and/or artworks. A body that consists of paragraphs that are started with a topic sentence that relates to a particular aspect of your answer, an artist, an artwork or a discussion. The following sentence should elaborate on that topic, revealing a clear understanding of what is being discussed. The following sentences should make further connections with the use of quotes or similarities that arise in other practitioners. The final sentence in the paragraph should tie up the topic with the question in a clear manner. A conclusion is the final part of your essay, and it is as important as the introduction. It is the summation of what you understand the question to be and what key points are within the essay. It is not the place to introduce new information. Remember, you are being assessed not only on your knowledge, but how well you respond to the demands of the question. Some tips for writing essays. When using the title of an artwork, put it in quotation marks. Don't make it personal. Rather than saying, "and therefore I think his works are really beautiful and successful," say, "therefore audiences can see the works are successful as they clearly." Refer back to the question. After all, what is the point of writing an essay if it doesn't answer the question? You have just wasted 45 minutes of your time if you don't do this at the end of every new idea. Refer back to the themes and main concepts the artist is focused on. These are the ideals that dictate their art making and their direction, therefore will play a major role in your analysis of the works. Have an introduction. At this point, introduce your artists briefly and how you intend to be answering the question using these artists. Then examine and explore them individually. Write neatly. If the marker cannot read your writing, then they cannot read your great ideas. Write about facts. Don't write about what you think the artist has accomplished. Write about what you know they have accomplished. You will know this because of your extensive research of your artists through books and trusted internet sites. Make sure you read all the requirements about your visual arts written exam on the BOSDES website. Some useful links will show you the syllabus requirements for the visual arts exam, sample examination papers, HSC exam rubrics, and the performance bands for the visual arts. Good luck with your HSC. I'm going to leave you now with two of my ex-students who are going to talk to you about a student's perspective of preparing for the HSC.
Yeah, so when I prepared for my body of work, I always thought, all right, let's think of my concept. What kind of mediums do I want to use? Like what kind of form would best convey what I want to say? Maybe I did textiles for my piece, so what embroidery styles, what could I best do that work on? Would it be well on a canvas, a big canvas or a smaller, what kind of scale? Just all that, what would convey my concept the best, really.
I had multiple ideas to begin with and I was torn between them, but what I did was I went on to places like YouTube and looked up artists and like more like hip and stuff like that, and I realised I found out what I enjoyed more, like mediums wise, and I enjoyed sketching and all that and painting too. And I was always interested in the Baroque style of art, which is really hyper realistic paintings and all that. I really liked landscape art, so I decided on that. And then I thought of different concepts that could work with that, like how lifelike they were, and then I thought lifelike artists really struggle to try and make their artworks come to life, and that's when I hit my concepts. And then I thought, how do they make their artworks come to life? And then I was thinking, how could I take that step further? I looked up Disney animators with all the movies like Cinderella, Pinocchio, all that, and how realistic they were. And I looked at them and I was like, I really like that.
So appropriating their style.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I made my own original character, but I appropriated some of the styles to, like, that you see in some of the movies into the animation. I needed a lot of help with Photoshop and all that, so I
Yeah.
talked to my Photoshop teacher and all that, and she helped me like that. So it's really helpful to just ask your teachers. And
Yeah, especially
all that.
putting it all together. Yours would have been, were you familiar with that form, like really familiar with it before?
I
or-
wasn't. All I did was beforehand was watch movies
So
and all
stop
that.
frame, like it was a
It was hand-drawn animation.
hand-drawn animation.
Yeah,
And compiling it all together to get to look like it moved would be just
Yeah.
such a new concept.
Yeah,
really.
it was
Yeah,
ridiculous
so
at times.
Your teachers are an excellent
Yeah.
resource.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that now. I had like I set goals.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, all right, today I'm going to embroider my bowerbird. I'm going to work on the wing because it took so long. The process is ridiculous.
Yeah, it would have
So
been.
I was like, I'll pick that spot, bring those blue threads that I need, like embroidery threads, and then
Yeah.
I'll just sit and work on it until,
Uh-huh.
and then I would try and get as much as I could get like done in that one lesson.
With time management, it was a real struggle for me. Like, I had to use pretty much majority of my free periods, study periods, focus primarily on the body of work because animation is such a large medium to do. It's like 16 pages per second, and it required a lot of time and a lot of energy, and at the time I wasn't really focusing on my own health and all that. I stayed up for 48 hours straight working on it, and after that I was completely dead. Yeah, practice.
Practice.
Yeah.
Always pick up a past like paper. That's always what I found.
Yeah.
And just set a little time limit with the suggested time.
Yeah.
And just go for it. But I had a highlighter with me. I had
Did you?
pens and I like annotated the symbols and everything, what
I
I
heard
could
that's
see
really
in it.
good.
So I just didn't rush in and write just waffle and just whatever.
Yeah, but I really focused in the exam the allocated time, what they said in the actual
that's
written
so
part, like what they say in there, go for it, because I went for that in the final HSC test, and I finished everything, and I still had a couple minutes to spare.
Yeah.
I was really relieved because
Yeah.
I felt accomplished. I felt satisfied with my exam, because before I didn't finish on time, and what I did was I covered the larger sections first because they
Did you do
require.
the essay
I did
first?
I did the essay
Yeah.
first because
That's
it's more
all.
time consuming. Then you just backtrack through the previous sections, and it just gets smaller and smaller, and it's less time for each, and you've covered that large section.
Nerves.
Yeah, exactly. And you have all this extra time that you have.
To read it.
Yeah, exactly. And
very cool.
actually think about the concepts, the symbols that you can see, the colours, the metaphors and allusions and all that in it.
Yeah.
So it's good. So yeah.
I also found having critical quotes and historical quotes from like historians really helpful for when I was doing my essay, to really support and like kind of have that KO kind of effect from my writing, just like boom,
I never
point.
thought of that.
Yeah, it was really good,
Uh.
good, just to way prove your point and really sum up your essay.
So if I had any advice, it would definitely be the time management. You've got to focus on your body of work, have good amount of time for other subjects too, and focus on that, and also the written side, and your health. That's the main thing, because from what I've learned and what I've been through, it's definitely a major thing that you need to focus on.
Yeah, mine would be listen to your teachers, ask them always like, how can you improve this? How can you really refine what you're trying to say? And you ultimately, just kind of trust in what you're doing and what you think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you'll do good.
Yeah. You'd be happy with your work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you'll feel accomplished and satisfied,
Yeah.
and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.